So I want to share a funny story with you. So when I was in high school, I remember I was in this art class, and I never considered myself a creative person, but especially in this art class, I knew I wasn't a creative person. And I remember we had to do this project where we had to create this box that had to have a general theme of what was going to be housed in the box. So for instance, one kid was really into video games. He had this box that was loaded with Mario, Luigi, and all these different video game characters. It was pretty cool. And I'm sitting there and I had no clue what I wanted to do. I had no inspiration, nothing was coming to me. And I'm sitting here panicking. I'm sweating in the middle of this art class going, what in the world am I gonna make? And I'm looking around the room trying to find inspiration, and I got nothing. So I reach into my pockets for whatever reason. I'm looking at my backpack and I find my car keys. And I look at my car keys and I go, that's it, I'm gonna make a box for my car keys. And long story short, it was the worst box ever out of all the boxes in that classroom. It was like all black, it had no color to it. I think the only thing I put on there was like a stoplight and maybe a street sign on there. The teacher took one look at it and was like, D, and that was it. And from there on out, I decided I'm just not a creative person, that's not me. I'm just not someone who's gifted with the gift of creativity. But as I've gone throughout my life, I've really learned that creativity isn't so much of this gift that you're given. Creativity is a skill and a talent. There's ways that you can actually develop your creativity. And there's certain factors that are involved in terms of your creativity that can influence how creative your brain is able to be. So in this video, I want to give you some simple strategies, 4 simple strategies that are going to help maximize and 10x your creativity. So one of my favorite quotes is this quote by Bruce Lipton, and he says, you can't be in growth and protection at the same time. And the same goes for our brain. Creativity really happens in the growth mode of our nervous system. And when we're stuck in protection, when our brain is stuck in stress, it's gonna be stuck in this protective mode. I want you to think about if you're on a hike somewhere, and let's say you saw this mountain lion that was coming down to attack you. The last thing you'd be thinking is like, what kind of box do I wanna create for art class? You're thinking about survival. Right? And what we don't realize is that the lifestyle that we're choosing, the things that we put into our body, are either building up stress or they're allowing our brain to go into growth mode. And so one of the first things that's really important to help your brain get into growth mode, to expand your ability to be more creative, is going to be nourishing your brain properly. When we eat foods that are highly inflammatory to our body, it's going to wreck our brain performance. I want you to think of inflammation almost like resistance for your brain. The longer your brain has to work against resistance, the more stress is going to build up in your brain, and it's going to make you less creative. So you're going to want to include foods and nutrients that are very healthy and rich and nutritious for your brain. That's going to be all your leafy green vegetables and also high quality fat. Your brain is 60% fat, so it needs high quality fat to get the job done. So if you want a high performing brain and you want a brain that's going to be more creative, make sure you're fueling it properly. Number 2 is you're going to want to get moving. You want to get a workout in. And the reason behind this is exercise, in particular aerobic and high intensity training, have been shown to boost your rate of what's called BDNF. And BDNF stands for brain derived neurotrophic factor. I've spoken about it in other videos, but it's basically this master protein for your brain that helps your brain become more changeable, more adaptable. And creativity is essentially when you're trying to make new connections to things that maybe you already have or have never seen before. And in order for your brain to do that, it needs to make new connections within itself. And BDNF helps your brain do just that. So by exercising, it helps your brain become more creative. And I can't tell you how many people, including myself, who've gone out for a run and all of a sudden that idea or that thing they've been looking for, that new project they wanted to start working on, all of a sudden comes to them while they're working out. So if you want to be more creative, go out for a run, do a workout, and you'll find your brain's going to become much more adaptable. It's going to start learning things quicker, and it's going to become much more creative. Number 3 is do things differently. Now, this doesn't have to be specifically for whatever it is you want to be more creative towards. Maybe you're a writer and you want to be more creative in your writing or your blog posts. This can be in any aspect of your lifestyle. By becoming more adaptable and changing up the routines in different areas of your life, it helps your brain get used to the process of being more creative and doing things differently, which can influence every other aspect of your life where you want to be more creative. And so that can be as simple as doing, let's say you read only business books. Maybe you read a fiction book. Maybe you typically work at a computer all day. Now it's time to write. Let's say you work all the time in your home office. Maybe you go work at a coffee shop. Maybe you do your workouts at a gym. Maybe it's time to go work out outside. Doing things differently is going to help your brain process things differently. It's going to help your brain become more adaptable, changeable, and also help your brain become more creative in any aspect of your life. And number 4, and this is probably the most important one out of the 4, is that you need to make sure what you're trying to be creative about is in alignment with your values. Now, it may sound a little woo-woo, so let me break this down just a little bit. Imagine we have a child, and the child sees this candy bar up on the shelf. Now, mom sees the child looking at the candy bar and goes, okay, we need to put that candy bar a little bit higher just to make sure my child can't get that. How many times have we seen a child become incredibly creative and resourceful to get to the object of their desire? Right? They'll start stacking pillows, they'll start stacking chairs on top of the pillows, they'll start stacking their brother or sister on top of the chair, on top of the pillow, in order to get to where they want, right? Because it's important to them. And the same thing goes for us. When we're trying to be creative about something that's not truly important to us, we're gonna have a very difficult time becoming more creative. But when it's something that's really truly important to us, that's more intrinsically driven by passion and our values, I find that creates lasting, impactful, and quality creativity that will absolutely surprise you. So in order to become more creative and use this to your advantage, you need to take an audit of what you're trying to be creative about and see what's really important. Is it really important to you? And if it really is, you need to understand why it's so important. And trust me, when you find the why behind what's important to you and you find the why for what you want to be creative about, it's going to exponentially expand your creativity and you're going to find yourself becoming much more creative for it. So with all that being said, if you think that you are not a creative person, I want to tell you right now that you can be a creative person. It is possible. And when you use these strategies, it can help you 10x your creativity and take your creativity to the level that you want it to become. And this can help in any aspect of your life, and I hope that this does help you in many aspects of your life. And thank you guys so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe by clicking that red button over there, and we'll see you guys on another episode of Brain Hacks.